Do you struggle with work-life balance? Do you want to travel the world and see all the amazing things out there? Do you want to have time to spend with your family, your loved ones? Well, on today's podcast, we're going to have a conversation with the man himself, Dr. Justin Bazan. Let's go, Defocus Media. This is a Defocus Media production.
Audio Jungle.
What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. Oh man, I'm super excited today. I got my brother from another mother in the building, everyone. How's it going, Justin? How's life been treating you, my man?
Life is lovely as ever. Del, it's great to see you. Thank you for having me on the show. Excited to talk to you again. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute because you've been moving around quite a bit. So, I'm super excited to have you on the show and really have a great conversation, man. You know, one thing that I've always loved about you and adored about you is that you understand the concept of work-life balance. As a matter of fact, when I look that up, I see your face in the book, right? And today I really want to just kind of dive into that because, we're in a time now with optometry where, there are doctors out there that's trying to see 1 million patients. And, they're forgetting about the most important thing, themselves, right? If you don't take care of yourself and you're trying to work, at some point in time, you're going to burn out. So it's important to really find what your true work-life balance is. Everyone's looks differently, right? But it's important to make sure that we tap into that and figure it out. But before we get started, man, for those that may be new to the industry and unaware of the living legend that we have on the podcast today, if you don't mind maybe giving a background of where you're from and how you got into eye care, my friend.
Sure, man, that goes way back. And right now I'm thinking I just had my 20-year anniversary.
Wow.
I'm graduating from SUNY College of Optometry in 2000.
Congratulations, man.
I actually missed my 20-year anniversary because I was hiking the Appalachian Trail, which is a 2,000-mile journey that took me 5 months to do.
Oh, man, I can't wait till we get into that, man. We're going to get into that soon.
But in 2004, when I graduated SUNY, I started my optometric journey. Like most people in New York City, I was working for a large optical. Here in New York City, it was primarily focused just optical based. There's several large groups here to choose from. It paid the highest, and that's what I was looking for after being a broke student. So I went in there, I started doing my spinning and grinning and kicking out refractive exams every 15 minutes, getting brutally abused because I didn't know any better. Nobody really showed me different ways of practicing or different modalities to practice. But I knew I had to hang in there because I had a glimmer of starting a private practice down the line. Now, my original intent was to wait till I was 30. So I get 5 years of enjoying the city and just living it up and balling out. But I didn't make it.
Oh,
I got to age 29, 4 years in.
Okay.
And despite me having amazing results at the office, I got fired.
Oh.
They told me to hit the road. Yeah. So you're like, why did he get fired? You're an awesome doc, right? I was too good of a doc, but I was also too good of an entrepreneur. Or at least they thought I was at the time. I had a patient blog. I was doing my social media thing. I was giving patients my email to contact me if they had future follow-up questions. So I was being, like how we practice nowadays, except I was doing this back in 2004, and they weren't ready for it yet.
Yeah, you're ahead of your time, it sounds like. No doubt about it.
Yeah, so I was given an ultimatum. Take down the blog, stop being accessible. We just want you to get a prescription so the patients can buy glasses and contact lenses.
Wow.
I wasn't able to provide eye care to the fullest scope of my practice. And getting fired was actually the best thing ever, because I went from having almost no work-life balance because I wasn't in control, having the ultimate control over my work-life balance. But I wasn't able to take off months out of the year right from the start. It was a lot of hard work that you have to put in for the first several years. So my work-life balance that you see now is probably tipped way more towards life, but in the beginning it was tipped way more towards work, and it was navigating through those middle years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
after I got fired, I started my own private practice in 2008, and here we are 15 years later.
Yeah. I love it, man. And I've been blessed to watch some of your journey. You started a little bit before me when it comes to practicing, but I can't lie, man. I've been enjoying every second, whether it's online, whether it's in person with you at a conference. There's always a great time, but most importantly, I always learn something from you. And today, I want to dive a little deeper into this work-life balance, but I feel like before we can even touch on that, we got to understand, your practice. Because you mentioned early on you had to put in the work. So let's kind of talk about the mode of practice, what a kind of a day in the life looks like for you. That way we can paint that picture, because there is a young Justin out there that is out there doing his thing, and he's having the same mindset, but he may not know how to make that jump, or maybe he's scared to make that jump. I would love for you to maybe dive into what that looks like as far as mode of practice in a day in the life.
Yeah, man, you just got to picture it and make it happen. Now, the key thing that I did is I set my practice up from day one to run without me. So right from
Ah,
the jump, I said, I don't want to be here all the time. And this needs to be an entity that is not revolving around me being there or
yeah.
my name. So one, I had an LLC formed. It was a Park Slope Eye Optometric PLLC. And two, it didn't have my name in the office, right? So I was the only doc in the beginning building up that reputation, but it primarily was the experience that patients had at Park Slope Eye versus the experience that they have with Dr. Bazan's office. Big
Gotcha.
difference there. Because
Absolutely.
when Dr. B's not there, patients might not book the appointment. However, if I'm not there and they don't know any better because they're just used to Park Slope Eye, whoever doctor is there, they have a great experience, then it's easy peasy. So from day one, I set it up like that. And I think that's a big difference that I've seen, allow me to have this kind of work balance lifestyle now, 15 years later, where I'm basically in the office as I choose.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And for some of the young doctors, some of the student doctors that are out there and you're watching this, I think it's very important to kind of look at what he just did. He started with the end. Notice at the top of the podcast, Justin mentioned that it's more life at as far as work-life balance. He's teetering more towards that direction, and it's because that's what he wanted to do. And he started with the end goal and kind of worked his way up. And I think that's fantastic. And I think sometimes as optometrists, we get a little lost in the sauce. We're all excited about seeing patients, but we're not thinking about that end goal of what we truly want. So if we can actually take a step back and start from the end and put out that plan, maybe we can get the success that you have, right?
Yeah, and I think that having that from the start is very important. But if it's not necessarily fully developed plan, you can kind of be like me and take a few years and work for other offices and get a feel for what's out there as options.
Yeah.
There's so many options now. It's not just working corporate, not just private practice, not just academics. There's a lot of different choices out there. Finding the right one for you, but ultimately understanding that if you're your own boss, you set your own schedule.
I love it. I love it. I love it, man. So kind of walk me through what it looks like throughout a year for you, because I see you traveling so much, but I know you're also in patient care. So are you working 7 days a week when you're in patient care? Are you working a couple of days? How are you able to navigate this lifestyle that you've created for yourself?
So having an awesome team, and shout out to my team that is allowing me to disappear. Well, actually, I joke with them, or they joke with me. They don't like it when I'm not in the office. So they say I mess things up. Like today, I've been back for a few days already, and I'm in there in people's business. My office manager's probably about ready to quit. So I apologize to Aaron. I have a tendency to nitpick, micromanage, look through every little transaction, every little invoice, exam. I get way too into the business side of things. So I get, it's like doom scrolling, except it's doom scrolling for business. I'm sitting there on all of my systems that I can manage remotely, going through and looking everything with a fine tooth comb. And I got to realize to chill with that. Part of the work-life balance is to being okay with letting some things go.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a meme or something, but there's a book saying how not to give an F about things.
Yeah.
And I think the more you actually let go a little bit and you're okay with something slipping through the cracks or something not going as perfect as it would have if you were there,
Yeah.
that sense of calm you can bring to that situation just by not caring so much about it goes a long way in giving you your freedom.
I love it. I love it. So essentially, you got a strong team behind you. So when you're not there, they're really leaning into that experience that you created as a foundation. You got the right support, the right home office support, the right doctors there to continue that experience that these patients are experiencing, is what I'm hearing essentially, right?
Yep, there's several protocols in place, there's templates in place, but it's the overall patient-centric experience that we all strive for. I run a very lean office, and the reason that I can do that is because I have some kick-ass people behind it. So shout out to Dr. Derek Lynn, a fellow SUNY grad, except he graduated several years later, more like a decade and a half later. Shout out to my office manager, Aaron, who's been with me for over a decade. So he's not only my great office manager, truly an asset to have in the office, who's watching my back. And then we also have Blake, who's our office admin. So that's a pretty lean team, but we are lean and mean, and we do business, and patients love us.
And I want to spend some time on that, but before we do this, I gotta hit some of these comments that's coming up. I got one right here, and it's Dr. Jacoby Cleaver, and he stated, "Who told Justin to shave?" Right? Dr. Cleaver, I told
Right there. That's who told
the same thing. I thought we were going to have Beard Gang on here today, but he told me that someone told him that he could no longer have it anymore. So I'm gonna let him share that story there.
So I've been dating Miriam, who's a fellow OD now for over 4 years. It was actually an anniversary on Saturday. She said that the beard reminded her of me being on the trail and being hiker trash. So she said, ditch the beard. So you know how that goes.
Hey man, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it looked good on you, man. You might
Appreciate
want to
that.
bring it back.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you got to keep her happy
polarizing,
though. You got to keep her happy. That's the real deal, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? If she had a beard too, I'd probably make her shave it as well.
Now, I want to circle back, man, because you touched on something that I think a lot of people, they missed, and that was having a team and having confidence in your team, and being able to really run lean. How do you pick that dream team? How do you make your dream team stay committed to the vision and the goal and the purpose? Because it's one thing to have someone come into your practice, that's great, but you're able to keep these people for a long time. They're loyal to you. So what's the secret sauce to create that loyalty from your team members?
So it's not only who knows you, but who you know.
Oh,
So
I say that all the time, my man. That's huge.
I get a lot of people that are approaching me to see if there's positions open. But also the way that I found, so Aaron, my office manager, who's been with me for 10 years, was a referral from another employee.
Okay.
Hey, I have a friend, I have a person in mind who I worked with in the past. They'd be great here at this office. As far as our office techs go, if you're my office tech for more than a couple of years, that's my bad. I shouldn't be keeping anybody as an office admin for years and years and years. So we have a tendency to make sure that those people know that I want them to look for other opportunities and use that position as a stepping stone. My office manager, on the other hand, who's been with me for 10 years, we keep him very happy, and we're very lenient with the work-life balance thing. In fact, I had to force him to take off time. He's been with me a decade, so he's got a month of paid leave, and he really only takes a couple weeks a year. So I always send him little travel information. If something comes up, I'm like, I see something that he might be interested in. I'm like, hey, have you ever thought about going here? Or wouldn't it be nice to go here? Like we're planning an office trip to go to Guatemala in January.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm letting him take the lead on that so he can pick the Airbnb place that he wants, set up some activities, and that's all paid for as well too. As far as my doctor goes, I have people approach me all the time. Networking is where it's at. You know this as well as anybody. A lot of times when we're at conferences, we meet people and people talk and people refer you to other people. SUNY has done a great job of having doctor meet and greets with the students. So they had a job fair that I went to. And at the job fair, I said, hey, after this job fair, I really want to get to know the people that are interested in getting to know more about Park Slope Eye. So we took them down the street to a little pub. We sat down and I got to know those people a little bit better. And sure enough, Dr. Lynn was one of those people that came and had that additional information session after the job fair. And then, it's just about listening to people. And if you value them, making sure that everybody's happy. And again, I've learned a lot over the years. If you have a valuable employee, make sure you're doing what it takes to keep them happy. And that goes doubly in this day and age where people don't seem to even want to work. So I hear from colleagues all the time, they have a lot of trouble finding people. 1, work leaner. 2, take care of the people that you do love better.
Yeah, I love that. And let's elaborate on taking care of people better, right? I mean, a lot of people think it's, oh, you got to pay them $1 million, right? But what I found is kind of like what you mentioned earlier. Just treat them with respect, treat them better, treat them like a person, give them responsibility, give them autonomy to make decisions and not micromanage. I mean, is there anything else that you feel you can add on to that as well?
Yeah, listen to them. So is there anything that you need to be more successful? That's one of the things that I'll ask, and I'll just listen. And then just taking a pulse. Man, I haven't seen you take any days off in a while. I'm worried about you burning out. You got anything planned? And, making sure everybody's doing okay. The last thing you want is somebody to quiet quit or not keep you, posted about what their plans are. So just staying in the loop and making sure people are taken care of.
I love it. I love it. So essentially being present, right? Not just getting into that practice and getting in the flow, going to the next patient, being present, not just with your patients, but being with your team members as well, and asking questions and finding solutions to problems that they also have, not just putting everything all into your patients. I really do love that approach.
And we do keep the team tight and we do keep the team friendly. So like a couple weeks ago, we went and I wasn't there, but the team went and played pool and then they went bowling and had a nice dinner. And then apparently spent, I'll save the rest of that story for when I see it. But they had a great time doing team bonding exercises.
Right.
And then I'll sit down individually with people. We'll go out to dinner. We'll talk, just as friends and colleagues often do. And that keeps the relationship healthy.
I love it. I love it. Well, man, you've really broken down, the practice. You've broken down the work-life balance. What I want to spend the remainder of this podcast is really on the life balance. You've done something incredible, man. I'm talking, hiking over 2,000 miles. Yeah, you heard me right, everyone out there.
Long way.
2,000 miles. Some of us out here in the streets just to struggle to walk 3 miles. My man did 2,000 miles. Even coming
I
out
was doing about 60,000 steps a day. Look, so people are like, oh, I got my 6,000 steps in. Now multiply that by 10 and do that for 4 months, 5 months.
So let's break this down. I would love to just, start off by where did this thought even come from, right? Like where were you at? What went off in your head? And then I'd love for you to kind of just walk us from day one, tell us how long it took and walk us through the journey, my man. Because I think this is fantastic. This is phenomenal. This is something I've never heard of and never seen, definitely in optometry, but ultimately I've never heard of this before, my man. So let's talk about it.
So let me set it up while also kind of pulling the office back into this. Okay. If you sent me an email, which I think you did, it might still have the away message up.
Yeah.
It says, hey, I'm out hiking the Appalachian Trail. I have a filter set up. If it's anything Park Slope Eye, email Aaron, who's my office manager at blah, blah, blah. If it's anything personal, email Miriam, and her email is this. All other email will be deleted. So that automatically reduced any volume of emails that I had. And to be completely transparent, I think Miriam sent me 4 emails. So that just goes to show you the amount of personal emails we get is next to nothing. A lot of it is just spam and BS.
Right.
Now, Aaron, who's my office manager, did probably send me an email every few days. And that was something that he said, hey, look, I tried to take care of this in the office with either Dr. Lynn, myself, or whoever, our insurance biller, but it still needs you to kind of come in and weigh in on this. So I had a few emails, and when I was on the trail, I was able to check my email from the trail, let's say every few days or so. But my workload was dramatically decreased because I had a very good screening process in place. And my office utilizes email as our primary mode of communication.
Okay.
So that's how that started. Now, how did I get the idea to hike the Appalachian Trail? Yeah. I didn't even know about hiking other than you go out for a day, you come back, and that's it. I had no idea that people were through hiking this all in one shot. So I was researching car camping because Miriam and me did some car camping in 2023 where we drove across the country and we stayed at the national parks. So I'm used to staying at, going out, doing a day hike in a national park and then coming back and doing some car camping, or most of the time that ended up in a hotel with Miriam because she don't like being in the tent all the time. But I wanted to do that again. So we were thinking about taking a car camping trip from Florida and then just driving back up the East Coast. Instead of going across country, I wanted to go up the East Coast. And I was doing some research. The research was just like what most people do is I went to YouTube, put in car camping, and started watching some videos. So one of the videos that snuck into the car camping was about a guy who was reviewing an air mattress that he was putting in his backpack. And I'm like, why does he care? You put it in the car. It doesn't matter how much it weighs. It doesn't matter. You're putting it in the car. What does he care about how much it weighs? And then I realized he wasn't car camping. He was backpacking. Now, backpacking to me was what you do when you go to Europe or Southeast Asia. You have a backpack, which I definitely do, but you're in a hostel or hotel at night. This way of backpacking was you go out in the woods and you sleep in a tent, you sleep in a shelter. Every once in a while, you sleep in a hostel, but you're out there for days on end. And I got into the pattern of being out on the trail for about 3-4 days before I came into civilization and got a shower and slept in a bunk bed in a hostel. Wow. But the trail started for me down in Georgia, and I walked all the way up to Virginia, which was over 1,000 miles. And then in the middle of June, it really was 100 degrees in Virginia, and the water was dried up. So I flipped, or what they call a flip-flop hike, up to Maine, climbed Mount Katahdin, all 6,000 feet, and then walked back down to Virginia and finished up here early October. So it went from May 1st to October 5th.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a journey.
I don't even know where to go with that, man. I mean, that's a hell of a journey, right? I guess my question for you is, this is a learning experience, right? As an optometrist, you have now put yourself in a position of all your folks that hike, right? So with this hiking opportunity, what did you take from that to communicate better with your patients? Because what I'm thinking of is dry eyes, light sensitivity, things of that nature. And I'm curious to know, what are you going to do better in that exam lane when you have those hikers walk into your practice?
It's way more fundamental than that. It's about giving yourself space to grow and learn. Ooh. And I think that as a practice owner, you get so caught up in doing tasks and managing that you don't give yourself time to sit there and learn skills that can help you improve how you run your business and how you handle patients and deal with employees and resolve conflict. So while I was out there hiking, I actually had more time to study than I've ever had in my life. So I loaded up the YouTube playlist with things that are going to give me a skill set that will help those things that I just talked about. I listened to podcasts. I was a student of things that make me not only better as a person, but better as an optometrist and better as a business owner. So I had a chance to sit there for many hours and learn the things that I didn't have a chance to do when I was practicing and running a business. It's a great opportunity. So the relationships that I have with people, patients, and the profession are much stronger now because I've learned to be better at them.
Wow, man, that's heavy, man. That's huge. So the secret sauce is we all need to go hike 2,000 miles, step our game up, and get some clarity, right? I mean, when I sit back and I hear you say that and I think about what you're saying, I mean, you're right. I mean, you literally have nothing around you that's going to occupy your time, right? You're truly dedicated to yourself to understand who you are and to figure out how you can elevate yourself and take it to the next level. I didn't even think about that answer. I'm more thinking about eye care and how we could provide better solutions and things like that. But you're right. Sometimes we got to take that step back and figure out, how can I be a better son? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better businessman? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better significant other? Right? We got to take some time in life to take a step back. That way we can function at a high level with some of these other things that we do in life. I love that, Justin.
100% true.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, man, before we hop off here, man. What was the biggest challenge of this hike?
So I've learned through the years to be more go with the flow.
Okay.
And I think that the hiking world is a lot like your private practice. You can plan all you want for it to go a certain way, but when it doesn't, if you fall apart, you're screwed. So, same thing in the hiking world. If you're planning a certain thing and it doesn't go that way and it falls apart, you can be screwed if you don't know how to go with the flow, adjust, and then make moves to correct things. And I think that the hiking this trail, there was almost a daily opportunity that tested that ability, as does private practice a lot of the times too. So getting good at being comfortable with things not going as planned, being comfortable with change, and going with the flow are definitely lessons that I've learned on the trail, gotten much better at, and now can apply in private practice.
Hey man, this is you're dropping gems here, my friend. You're blessing us, you're bestowing us with all this knowledge. I just hope and pray that all my colleagues out there, take work-life balance from this podcast and really think about, when you open a practice, don't make that practice about yourself. Make it about an experience. Provide a name that when people walk in, they know that they're going to get a certain experience from that name. They're not going just to see one person. It's not the Justin show, it's the practice show, right? So how can you create an environment like that to give you the lifestyle that you're searching for, but again, start from the end and kind of work your way back? Now, Justin, the question I like to ask all my folks that come on the podcast is, what do you want to be known for when you retire your phoropter? Because I feel like you're known for nothing but greatness in eye care, but I'm curious to know, what is it that you want to be known for? Because you've done so much in the industry. If you don't mind sharing what you want to be known for and that legacy that you want to create, I would love to hear it.
I really don't want to be known for anything. That's not even something that I'm working towards or have a goal or want. I'll leave it up to the people. I help a lot of people behind the scenes in different ways. Hopefully that there's been some people on your podcast and through your media that you've inspired people in the same way. And it's just, I think that when you say legacy, it's something that is defined by the people that you've helped more so than how you're defining it by yourself. So I'll leave it up to the people.
Hey man, first time I ever got that answer, but for you, it makes perfect sense. And I will say you have made a big impact in my career and my perspective on eye care. And I just want to thank you on behalf of eye care for doing all the great things that you have done, my friend.
Back at you.
For anybody out there that's looking to potentially partner with you or, connect, get some knowledge, what's the best way for them to connect with you, my friend?
Well, if I've done a good job practicing what I preach about, social media and email and utilization of online platforms, I'm not that hard to find. So I'll leave it at that.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for everyone tuning in and tapping in. It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Stay healthy, stay positive, stay blessed. But most importantly, get that work-life balance, baby. Watch this podcast, take notes, go back to your practice, and implement these strategies. Until next time, peace. Hey, family, if you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.